Okay. Hi, Zeina. How do I pronounce your name?
Zeina. Zeina.
Zaina.
But you can pronounce it anyway, it's fine.
Zaina. Okay, cool. Hi, Zaina. Thanks for joining us for Dream VC Alumni Success Stories. Can you tell us your full name, the Dream VC program, and cohort that you were part of?
Okay, so my full name is Zeina Azab, and I was part of the 2023 cohort for the Launch into VC program.
Excellent. And what current company do you work for? Your role, title, and what would you? Yes, yeah.
So I currently work for Egypt-based VC called Foundation Ventures, and my title is investment analyst. This is my first month at Foundation Ventures, so I'm just starting out at the VC. But essentially, my role is everything from sourcing and analyzing startups to going through the entire investment process up until.
Excellent, and congratulations on
Thank you.
your new post. Can you tell us a bit about what you were doing prior to Dream VC? I.e., what was your story right before? Any goals, aspirations you might have had?
Okay, so when I applied for Dream VC, I was actually a student. I was studying at the American University in Cairo. I was majoring in finance and minoring in economics. And I think I was in my junior year when I applied. At the same time, I was working at Plug and Play Egypt. So I was working there as a program intern, helping out with the acceleration and incubation programs. So one of the people that I worked with at Plug and Play actually introduced me to the Dream VC program, and that's when I decided to apply because I really wanted to sort of be able to make the transition from the program side of VC to the investment side of VC once I graduate.
Excellent. And can you tell us a bit about your Dream VC experience now? Any highlights or lowlights that you'd like to kind of share?
So the Dream VC program was definitely extremely insightful and eye-opening. It was definitely also a lot of hard work, and it was extremely rigorous, which I actually liked because I thought it made the program so much more useful. And there were a lot of things that I learned. There were a lot of assignments that I had to do in Dream VC that I actually ended up using at my jobs in both Plug and Play and currently at Foundation Ventures. So it was definitely an extremely, extremely useful internship that I definitely recommend to everyone that wants to break into the VC space. Another thing that Dream VC helped me a lot with was shifting my focus to not just North Africa and the Middle East, which people in Egypt tend to do because it's a similar, people speak a similar language, it's more of a similar culture, but actually looking at the continent of Africa as a whole and Egypt's part to play in Africa's growth in the VC space.
That's really cool. That's really exciting, and I agree. Sometimes we're so focused in terms of where we're localized, and then there's so much happening across the continent, and it's such a diverse ecosystem. What drew you to applying and participating in Dream VC or the Live VC program in particular?
I really liked the localization aspect. Like I was aware that there were other more global fellowships, but I liked the fact that it was very focused on the continent. And I think that's very important because VC here is definitely going to be very different than VC in the United States or in Europe, purely because of the stage that the markets are currently in right now. So I liked that it was extremely localized, and I felt like Morgan Cindy's approach when creating this program really highlighted the fact that it's still sort of, and we're all working in emerging markets, and that's very important to consider when entering into VC.
And I would say that was probably the same thing for me. And can you tell us about something you did not expect from the program?
Let me think. One thing that I didn't expect from the program was how active people are and how I'm trying to think of the right word. Oh, one thing that really shocked me was how interactive it is. Because of its nature as an online program, I was assuming that it's going to be very passive. We just listen to lectures, take notes, and submit our assignments, that there wasn't that much interaction between different members of the cohort, especially because people are based in so many different countries and on different continents and speak like very different first languages. So I always thought that it was going to be much more passive, less interactive. But then when I actually joined the program, I realized that it becomes almost more of like a friendly dynamic than it is a classmates dynamic. And
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed like the group projects, the different even icebreakers that we had, the different opportunities that we had to interact with different members of the cohort, and then still having the opportunity to continue to maintain and build this network even after we graduate from the program.
Amazing. And can you describe a moment during the VC program that was particularly transformative for you? What happened and how did it shape your journey? If so, if there is one.
Honestly, I can't think of a specific thing that transformed the journey. For me, it was just the program as a whole and the journey of it rather than a specific moment.
Okay, well, that's good. And I think many people have shared similar sentiments that the whole program in general is quite transformative. Now, kind of moving on to post program, can you briefly describe your company and its mission?
Foundation Ventures?
Yes.
Okay, so Foundation Ventures is a Egypt-based fund, and we're currently wait, let me start over. I'm still new.
No, that's fine. I thought so. 'Cause I can ask you
So,
again, or I can give you some time if you want.
okay, I can explain it.
Okay.
That's
So,
fine.
can you briefly describe, moving on to post program, can you briefly describe your company and its mission?
So currently, I work at Foundation Ventures, which is an Egypt-based fund. And basically, what we do is we invest in pre-seed stage startups, and we're sector agnostic. So there isn't a specific industry that we're focusing on. Rather, we're focusing on companies or startups that we see that there's a clear way that we can add value to the company and support the company. And we do this specifically by leveraging our network of LPs who are industry leaders in their respective fields. Some of the startups that Foundation has invested in the first fund include startups like Rabbit and Flextalk. And what Foundation Ventures has been able to do is actually bring on regional and international investors on board after investing in these local startups. Foundation also does have an interest in startups that are trying to expand across the region.
Wow, that sounds really, really exciting. And yeah, what an exciting kind of organization to be part of and mission. So, congratulations again to you.
Thank you.
How did the LIVC program translate into the work that you're doing now? If so, applicable.
Definitely. So the program helped me a lot when it comes to the sort of technical analysis that you need to do as an investment analyst. And I realized that a lot of the assignments that I was doing at Dream VC, which culminated in the investment memo, are actually really helpful. And I even use the frameworks and the resources that I got from this program in my job as I'm analyzing startups.
Wow, that's really, really good. And how did you see? I guess it's too early for you to say, but how would you like to see your role evolving in the next 5 years within the African VC ecosystem?
Honestly, I think it's too early for me to say. I just graduated from university in June. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
very new to the full-time job experience. So
Yeah.
I really am more interested in learning day by day and trying to get as exposed to the ecosystem as I can, both locally in Egypt and then in the context of the entire continent. So I'm just at the stage where I'm trying to learn as much as possible from those that have more experience than.
Amazing. I'm rooting and excited for your journey. So looking forward to seeing how it evolves. What would you say in terms of lessons learned? What were the most valuable lessons you learned during the Dream VC program?
Can I actually think about this one for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Uh, I'm trying to like summarize this into
That's
some.
fine.
Okay, I think I can answer. Do you want to ask the question again, or should I just answer straight away?
I'll ask it again just so for editing purposes it's easier. What would you say, if we move on to lessons learned, what would you say were the most valuable lessons you learned during the Dream VC program?
I think there's two main lessons that I learned. The first one is that it really is all about your network and trying to build and maintain a strong network. And then the second thing that I learned is that you have to be very open to new experiences and very open to understanding things outside of the market that you're currently operating in or the market that you're most familiar with. And this was especially important to me at GVC because I've mostly been exposed to Egypt or the MENA region, mostly Arabic speaking countries, and it was very eye opening for me to interact with people who were helping build the African ecosystem across the continent as a whole.
And did the program equip you with tools or skills to tackle these challenges? If so, how?
Which challenges?
Well, if you had any challenge, oh, sorry, I've moved on way ahead.
Oh,
Um, okay, so forget that. I moved on to the next section. My apologies. How
no.
have these lessons impacted your role or strategy in terms of how you apply yourself, how you show up in leadership or
Sorry, I didn't hear the beginning part of the question. Could you repeat it, please?
yeah, of course. So, how have these lessons that you've taken on impacted your role in terms of how you show up in leadership and strategy or operations within the very role that you're doing?
I don't know if I can really answer this question because my role there, I'm not in a leadership position. So
Yeah. I mean, okay, and to be fair, like you've been in the role for a month, so you probably
yeah,
haven't had enough time yet. So we can move past that question. That's totally fine. Okay then, and moving on to challenges, did you have any challenges you faced after completing the program? If so, please share.
honestly, I didn't because when I graduated from the program, I still had one more year of university left. So it wasn't like I went in straight away to a full-time VC job. So I don't really think that there were any challenges that I can really identify post graduating from this program.
Okay, and that's fine. And do you reckon the program equipped you with any particular skills, tools that have kind of aided you in either the application process or any kind of interactions you've had within the ecosystem that have might have presented as challenges?
Definitely. So there is the academic aspect that GVC helped me with through doing the assignments. Wait, can I restart?
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I think I can answer this question from two different perspectives. So, from the academic perspective, GMBC definitely helped me a lot, and I use all the learnings that I got, the technical, analytical skills that I got from this GMBC program in my job currently. But also from a different perspective, GMBC has definitely helped me step more out of my comfort zone. When I joined the GMBC cohort, I was the youngest one in the cohort, and I was also the only Egyptian. So I definitely had to really step out of my comfort zone and interact with people who had so much more experience than I did in a vast array of fields, and also people who were much older than me and had a lot of experience in completely different markets. So this was one of the main things that I had to learn, and I have actually found it extremely useful as I'm entering into the VC ecosystem and trying to interact with not just local but international players as well.
That's really wonderful, and that's a testimony a to your character and your own diligence as well. So a big well done to you. Um, has the I guess kind of moving into personal growth and reflections, and you've kind of already touched on it in a way already. But has the program influenced your personal growth at all in any way?
Definitely, it's made me so much more confident in my skills because through Dream VC, I've really focused on honing these skills. It also taught me how to really interact with people who are so different than me, who have a different background than me, but we share the same excitement and passion for the VC space in Africa.
Excellent. And is there any advice you'd give to anyone new who's participating in the program, or anyone who would be looking to apply to be part of the program?
Definitely. I would tell honestly anyone from any background to apply because I don't think that there are any limitations. I think you just have to be very excited and passionate about the prospect of entering this space. And it is a very exciting field to be in and to want to be in. And it's also a very exciting place as well. I think Africa as a continent is still in the early stages of growth. And it's very cool to be trying to enter the space at this exact time. So I don't think that anyone should let anything limit them from applying or prevent them from applying in terms of their age, their background, their education, any previous work experience or lack thereof. So that would be my main advice.
Awesome. And I guess kind of if you had any reflections looking back during the program, is there anything you think you would do differently?
Honestly, one of my favorite parts of the program was the networking. And I think because my nature is just if there's something like an academic assignment or project that I need to finish, I'll put all of my focus on that and I'll neglect the other things. So for me, even though I did have opportunities to network, I actually would have invested even more time in that, even if I had to sacrifice a bit of the time that I spent on the assignment, because truly it is one of the most valuable assets that GVC gives you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the network is has such a wide reach. It's a really, really great asset. I agree.
That's
I guess then moving on to future outlook, what future goals and aspirations are you looking forward to? Again, might be too early for you to say, but
I
if
think
you're curious about anything in the future, is there anything you might share with us?
honestly, for me, the most important thing right now and in the near future is learning as much as I can, and also trying to grow my network and trying to meet as many people who are rich in experiences that I can learn from.
Okay, that makes sense. And I guess there's so much to learn as well. There's so much to take in. And yeah, because also it is in an emerging market. Yeah, there is so much to kind of still evolve and unfold. So you're in a really cool interface and interplay between all these different factors. And what role do you see the work of Dream VC playing in the future of the African VC ecosystem?
To me, Dream VC kind of is one of those players that's democratizing access to a certain specific type of education that I think is really important. A lot of times, at least before I joined Dream VC and before I joined Plug and Play, I always knew that I was interested in VC. I just didn't know how I could enter the space. It seemed extremely far away and extremely unattainable. And the first way that I got introduced to VC was through Plug and Play, and honestly, it was a pure coincidence and pure luck that I actually got exposed to plug and play in the beginning. And then GVC really helped me sort of scale up my knowledge when it came to venture capital. And for example, I'm someone who was studying finance and economics at university, and I never had a VC class. It just didn't exist at the undergraduate level. So it always seemed extremely far away. So I think what GVC is doing is very important because a lot of people don't have access to this type of education, even at really reputable institutions.
Yeah, understand, and I couldn't agree more. There's such a huge and very specific role that they're playing, and it's kind of opening up a lot of opportunity and a lot of exchange across the continent. So it's really wild when you think about the impacts actually,
Mhm.
and you being a specific example as well and being a product of this. So it's really fantastic.
And also something that's really interesting, like the last cohort which I was in, I was the only Egyptian that was in the entire cohort and the first person from Egypt to actually join any of the
Wow.
GVC programs. This year, there are so many more Egyptians that have joined, and it
Wow.
really just shows how much Dream VC is growing and how much their mission is resonating with people.
Mm, agreed. Agreed. And it'll be exciting to see how that kind of evolves 5 years from now, 10 years from now, being able to measure that impact. So yeah, what an exclusive part of history we kind of get to be part of. Um, and I guess kind of to close the interview and to conclude, is there anything else you would like to share about your journey, about your experience post program? Anything you think our listeners might find useful and interesting?
Honestly, this is a hard question.
No, that's fine.
Anything post program?
Yeah, it could be anything about your journey, any learnings, any findings, anything I might not have touched on or asked you that you think might be relevant.
I think a lot of the time, because some funds tend to be on the smaller side or some teams tend to be smaller, it's nice to. Oh, wait, let me rephrase that.
I can ask you again. Oh,
Uh,
go on.
okay, I'll try to say it informally first, like the idea I have in
Yeah,
mind,
yeah, that's fine.
and you
That's
can help me out.
yeah.
Uh, but basically, I've realized that a lot of the times, even though you are working within a team in VC, sometimes if, like for example, a fund is focusing on multiple countries, or if the fund, like the team that's working on the fund is small, it might feel a bit lonely or a bit daunting when you're trying to source deals, when you're trying to analyze an investment. And I realized really how important having a network is. And I realized that GVC is always something that you can fall back on. GVC has such an extensive network and such an easy way to get connected to everyone in the network, and so many resources that you can just use on a daily basis as someone who is working in the field. So even though a lot of the time, as a VC analyst, you might be working within a small team or sometimes even alone on a particular deal, you still have that sort of community to fall back on.
Yeah, which is always great, which is always great because it's kind of like a lifetime community.
Mhm.
So it's a resource we'll always have. So thank you for that. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your journey. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's been really incredible. I mean, it sounds like a very smooth ride.
So far.